Yeah, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. Yeah, we need more wisdom, we need more love. I'm screaming peace on my people, I'm talking one love. And positive people, we need some more of. And black-owned businesses in my neighborhood really need to talk about our condition. TV and the media is painting strange pictures. If you see a black man, get your gun because these vicious cops been killing us. Why you think it's cop killers died in the line of duty and the system is the victims? And when you hit the courtroom, you already convicted. But Trayvon and Michael Brown still ain't getting no justice in the long list of names. But you saying they deserve it. People love our culture, but it's so hard to be urban. And all these urban legends, boy, I swear they ain't the story. Power to the people and the God be the glory. I'm talking to the people when we share testimony. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk.
Hey, my people, you're tuning to Major TV. Let's talk. This is about real engagement conversation with the Black community. Major TV addresses social, political, economical, and racial issues that affects our community. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and share. If you're new to the channel, subscription button and notification button. I want to introduce people that you already know, some very positive, beautiful people that's really doing something big in Cleveland, Ohio, on Just Be Black Summit. I'm introduce my brother for sure from another mother, Abdulwadud.
Yes,
And
indeed.
it's
Peace
sweet,
and
sweet,
blessings.
beautiful Elaina Porter. What's up? Sir, joining your life, pending for freedom, that already in the building. How y'all doing? What's up?
Peace and blessings. I'm doing all
Peace and
right.
blessings. Greetings.
I'm glad first and foremost for having y'all on the channel, which both of y'all have been on my channel. Y'all are distinct guests to Major TV. Y'all are not strangers. Y'all are very profile in the movement, and y'all are doing things that I think is needed. And I'm gonna start with Abdullah as far as when he first thought about doing it. What was his motivation, and why we here today talking about this?
Well, I could say that my motivation actually stirred, along, quite some time ago. Some that know me know that I began uh, speaking, if you will, as an email, right? But as time went on, we've got the spirit of uh, black unity. You understand that's deep within us. It just so happened that one individual kind of stirred it in all of us, and woke it back up. You know what I mean? When it was kind of tapping out a little bit, so woke it back up. I'm speaking of Grandmaster Jay, right, and his influence with the NFAC as a militia in the black community. Um, in this case, I can say that that was a major wake up call, a major impact, and that was what stemmed to ending up leading to my meeting with you, and then eventually our sister Elaina.
Okay, cool. Sister Lana, we already know you're an advocate for self-determination, which now you have all of us saying that. We want to thank you first and foremost for bringing all to light. And we know that there was a lot of things behind the scenes you had to do to get to this point. I just wanted you to explain in your own words um, how I feel about this point right now, where you're about to get on a platform where you're going to be dealing with different things with black people that's going to be involved in having different platforms trying to push Afro descendants, our own nation, all the other stuff that come with it. With you humble beginning with that.
Um, well, man, Major, there's so many dynamics to this whole endeavor. I don't even know where to start. I started this journey actually back in 2012. At that time, I was finishing up my master's, and I originally went back to school to get a master's of science in criminal justice with an emphasis in law enforcement because my career background was working with at-risk youth who look mostly like us. And I went in I went in with the idea, with the question is, are we innately criminal? And during my studies and the research that I done, everything I found was legal and political. Our condition is a legal and political condition. And I have the documented proof of that. We're in the position that we're in by design. And by design, I mean we have legislation, programs, institution, and their constitution that actually relegates us to a disposable surplus population. That's why the policies that you see are genocidal. There's no room for development, and there's no room for self-sufficiency. And it's based on a paternalistic policy of integration and benign neglect. So we have no choice based on the studies. My sister, Cecile Johnson, she's a statistician, and her background is in urban studies. And she pulled the numbers and she pulled the statistics, looking at different indicators for different qualities, factors of quality of life as a people that we live in one of the most industrialized countries in the world. We parallel a third world country. Our conditions and our social economic conditions and our health, all the indicators point that we experience the quality of life of a person who lives in a third world country, and that's by design. And we just can't continue on this path. So that is what really laid the foundation of my fight for self-determination. We have certain collective rights as a people, as a colonized people, as Afro descendants that came, our last wave of ancestors that came across the transatlantic slave trade. Their sovereignty was displaced. They never gave up their sovereignty. Our ancestors that were enslaved, there was the first slave trade was an internal Aboriginal, indigenous, Black American slave trade that part of our history and that's part of our identity. Their sovereignty was interrupted and it was displaced. They never gave it up. Our identity is a mixture of the Paleo American. It's a mixture of the Black European that came here and helped founded this country. As a matter of fact, that's where the Moors derived their doctrine from. They did exist. They were Black Europeans that actually controlled it all the way from Spain all the way up to Europe. And they are the ones who brought these colonizers here. And our ancestors fought alongside of the Black American, the last wave of Africans. We have documented proof, specifically here all down in the South and in parts of up north as well. This was a war zone. So we are intergenerational prisoners of war. And it's been normalized. And my aim is to educate people about our conditions, let them know what options we have according to international human rights law, and come up with a plan. That's why I'm so excited to be partnering with Brother Abdulwadud, so we can come up with a plan and have a space, create a space for the rest of the intellectuals that feel the way that we do, that we are in a national state of emergency. Just because Trump got out of the White House, our condition did not change. We still own and control nothing. We still cannot protect, secure, and defend our families, our communities, and our population. And with that, I yield.
Thank you, sweetheart. Abdulwadud, how much you know about what Elaina's talking about? How much is going to be a part of the Just Be Black Summit program?
Well, what I can say is that first of all, Sister Elaina is a very, very intelligent individual and an important asset to what this is. In fact, a lot of my envisioning of this is more abstract, and with her expertise, a lot of her research and work that she's done actually provides a lot of the sustenance to fill in the abstractness of what I've laid out. So it's kind of like a way of filling in the blanks and answering, what should we do about this? What should we do? It all links together. So I'd also have to say that, working with her is definitely perfect unity or a perfect alliance in this matter. I come from a type of upbringing where I've had a lot of, people involved in my life, right? Different personalities. And one of the things that I used to wonder growing up, you know, here I am, I'm speaking a language that's not mine. When this knowledge comes, like, wait, this language isn't mine. I don't know. At that time, I didn't know who or what my cultural practices were. I don't know the dance that my ancestors did. You understand? And just on and on. These things bothered me, and I'd look around and wonder, well, how can people feel comfortable and feel relaxed not having their own? While when you look across the street, or when you look at the other side of town or whatnot, I don't know if you can hear me. When you look across the other side of town, you see people practicing their, Greek festivals and Italian, whatever's, you know what I mean? Just all these different things going on. I'm like, well, where's ours? Who is ours? And then when you go to ask these type of questions, you get very limited, rigid, narrow scopes of who they would like us to see that or believe that we are. Then when you dig into the and do the homework, you end up finding out that pretty much you were rocking the world for at least 60,000 years before these folks ever showed up. And I'm like, well, hold on a second here. That means, when we look at the new so-called new age of technology and whatnot, I don't mean to get off subject, but just to give you a scope of what triggered me. This stuff has only been around for at least 100 and something years, a few centuries. Television, internet, computer. We've been on the planet for hundreds of thousands of years. You understand? So, you could just imagine what kind of knowledge we had, and you also realize that when one group of people conquered another, one of their behaviors were to try to erase or eradicate any evidence of the people they conquered. So anyway, all that kind of stuff stirred me up. And given the situation of oppression, of tyranny, of hostilities that are directed towards our people today, you understand? And seeing how confused many of us are. Not only are we confused on a large scale, I'm speaking of, but we're broken into so many different factions. And when you listen to the voices that lead these factions, they're all singing the same song. You understand? But the problem is they want their label at the bottom of that song. They want their title. So, we are a proud people innately. We're people who like to for it to be known who we are and what we stand upon and what we represent. You understand? So the the challenge here is not that do we desire unity. That's not the challenge or the question. It's clear that everybody wants to be unified. The problem is, how do we sew this together where everybody feels like they would, quote unquote, have their cake and eat it too, where they can participate and feel that what makes them who they are is not excluded, or what makes them who they believe they are, or perceive themselves to be, is not excluded at the round table of discussion when it comes to this effort to unify.
All right, well, let me step in and ask Elaina something. You might want to chime on too. Elaina, are you still on?
Yes, my brother, I'm still here.
All right, now, many moons ago, when I was in my infant stage of developing and growing, learn about history, and I'm talking about world history. Like,
Yes.
over the motherland, I did a lot of, like looking at the Chinese and Indians and Caucasians and what have you, right? Just connecting some dots. Something was very far-fetched and whatnot, right? But I just was just inquiring, but I was mainly trying to keep the Afrocentric perspective, looking at the eyes of our people in reference to, we was always about righteousness and truth, right?
Yes.
Now I'm throwing somebody to you, right? black people migrated, right? The original man family or civilization was in Africa, right? And we migrated, right?
Yes.
And everywhere we migrated, we was named, right? It was normally named by colonizers. But with the one
Yes.
race that stand out, Caucasians, they named everybody. And
Yes.
I was showing in National Geographics, black Indians, black Asians, like Chinese, Japanese, Mexicans, what have you. And this brother said, man, look, he was funny when he talked. He said, man, look at these dog people. He said, white people got you believing that there's something else like Indians, Mexicans, Chinese, Japanese. So my question is for Native American. Well, I got a couple things in there. The statement I'm making with a question. And then white people, you see the colorization, the light of the Indians or white. You got a lot of white people. People know white people infiltrated everything and she's Indian. Like Elizabeth Warner, said she was Indian for a long time and found out she wasn't. People don't realize it's like they did over there in Israel, everywhere else. The dark Jews, they don't talk about colorization, right? All in the Latino world, like Indians are black people, people don't realize that. White people told you. Well, the question is, Indians are actually black people. This was given a name Indian. Now, I won't bring down dingo and all that because like they changed the word around. When I first looked at dingo, I know a Spanish word. I looked at it last night. No, the Spanish word meant black, right? But now it's modified. Now the word means something else. But it means black. So when the Spanish sees Indian, they say dingo. That's translated to Indian. The question is, did white people, well, we know that, but do white people name Indians and this separates by making us think, Indians wasn't black people?
Well, let me tell you what they did. See, the colonizer could not subdue us physically. So they had to use what you call psychological warfare with their language. That's why when I hear people brag about, oh, I'm Choctaw, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm Cherokee, especially here in Georgia, that don't impress me because your ancestors signed that treaty with an X. We didn't speak the same language, so we didn't know what they were talking about. Even in Africa, they did the same thing in Africa. Wherever this colonizer set foot, the first thing he did was to denationalize the population by renaming them. So that is true, and your assumption is correct, brother. And that's what they did. They renamed people. As a matter of fact, they paper genocided black people right here in the United States out. There are pure, full-blooded, like where you come from, and I've been meaning to tell you this too, Brother Major. Your speech is not a result of your intellect. It's the fact that you have a foreign language forced on you and you speak a creolized, especially down there in Louisiana where y'all come from. Y'all are pure Indians. Study the Ouachita Moors. You'll find out who y'all are down there in Louisiana. You all have a rich history. So when you look at, and I did this research because I work with at-risk youth, and a lot of those children were presumed having intellectual delay when the bottom line was we speak a different language. We don't speak the same English because it was forced on us. It's a creolized version of English. Just like the Jamaicans speak patois, you have the Haitians speak a form of Creole, specifically down here in the South. Our English is not the same. So is that really a disability? That in itself is a lawsuit against the United States using psychological warfare. Okay, they use psychological warfare. They use cultural deprivation, like what they're doing right now, suppressing people's culture, suppressing the language. The first thing they would do, like they did the Native Americans all up in Canada, they had those residential schools where they forced those children not to speak their own language, not to wear their own hair, their own dress and attire. We have had a number done on us, Brother Major. A real number done on us, but you made your assumptions is correct, and your analysis is correct. They did rename everywhere they set foot. They renamed it, and they put in a social construct of color, a binary social construct, black and white. The
Let me
darker
let
hued people, regardless of what color they were, I mean, where they came from, whether you were a Black American or you were an African, if you were a darker hue, then you were immediately put in the Black category and enslaved and treated or either colonized. And with that, I yield the floor.
I'm gonna ask you, Abdulwadud. Now, psychological warfare. I haven't heard that in so long. So when I heard it said, I was like, "Wow!" You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Won't you give us won't you kind of like add to what she's saying? Because
Okay.
she said a lot, you know. But I'm gonna go back to you with this because I want to expound more on psychological warfare because we have to understand what she just was saying.
Yes, indeed. So let's deal. For example, she had hit a PowerPoint all through and through, but that language, you understand, we're dealing with a people um, that okay. We have to try to understand. Since we're dealing, you spoke of psychological warfare. Let's deal with the psyche of these people. Okay, they're a egotistical based or driven people, right? They believe that they are the cream of the crop of humanity because they believe in this mythological concept they call evolution, and in that they believe they are the last type of humans to form. You understand? So, according to them, everything started off amongst them as monkeys and apes or ape-like creatures, and then developed until it became a black man, then a lighter complected man, and then a white man. So, with this mentality, they believe they are the top of the line. They are the perfected human being. That unfortunately has been exposed as false through their own scientists. So we have to catch them when they're actually being honest about themselves, because then they in turn they expose their lies. Okay, so for example, they will tell you readily that nobody in the motherland possesses the Neanderthal gene. The Neanderthal is a type of genus, a species of human being. Okay, Homos is the genus. Neanderthal is the species. We're supposed to be derived from, I mean, everyone else, Homo sapien. Sapien being the species. Okay, so they'll tell you that nobody else except them possess the Neanderthal gene. Now you have to ask yourself, well, what is this? What is this creature? It's just that, a creature, not a human. Okay, because the human is the Homo sapien. So 60,000 years ago, according to their, you can look into Oxford, you can look at Cambridge, they became the creature that ended up becoming what they are, close to what they are today, called the Cro-Magnons. Okay, so you had the Neanderthal, and then it became the Cro-Magnons. The Cro-Magnons and Neanderthals intermingled with some of the humans that were, that came up into the region that we call like Turkey today, the Fertile Crescent, all of those areas, the Caucasus region. From that area, you end up having 6,000 years ago a population of people that started being sifted from them by our own people. You understand? And that population of people became the Caucasian as you know them today. Okay, the Caucasian being the union between the Neanderthal and the human being. This isn't this again. This isn't the same thing as the original people, the people of the motherland. You mentioned that in your studies you saw that people were in Africa, people were in China, people were in Mexico, people were in South America. This is because we've been on this planet for quite a long time, so we've had plenty of time to get around. You understand? We're not new to this, let alone new to this planet. You understand? We've been around. Let me just say it that way. That's why our ancestors, everywhere they went, they showed us signs to remind us of how to get back to other places we've been to. And I'm not talking about this planet. I know that kind of gets spooky under some people, but why is everybody so patiently waiting to get into heaven? What do you mean by heaven? Where is the heavens? You understand? Where is paradise? Think about all these things that everybody's so hopeful about. Why are you hopeful? Because our stories are being repeated to us, reminded to us of where our focus should be ultimately. So
Right.
these people, because they know who they really are, they know that they can't grasp the spiritual essence that's innate in us. You understand? And so it becomes hard. This is why many prophets came to whom Them. I'm not talking about the people that. Okay, let me say it this way: 6,000 years ago, there was a pattern that started to go on.
Time out, brother. You gotta
Yeah.
break it out now. We don't have all day talking.
Okay, let me shrink this down then. 6,000 years ago, you had a pattern that started to take on where individuals kept on trying to civilize these people. You understand? They would try to, invite them to knowing how to dress, knowing how to wash, knowing how to read and write and speak, you name it. If you look in history, you'll find that Greeks and Romans and all their scholars kept on traveling where? To Africa to get their knowledge. That was their seal of authenticity. The order when they completed the different stages in their orders that they were affiliated with in Africa, they went back to Europe. They went back to where they were from, and began to teach in their facilities there, the academies and whatnot there. Anyway, I'm trying to shrink that down. It's so much. This.
I mean, I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't give. I don't want to give. I don't want to give I don't want to give a history class.
Yeah.
Books and videos on it. You can look at.
Yes, you definitely can.
Like Smmit right now, we're talking about psychological warfare, and that's what I'm concerned about, because we already know that everything they do is from us.
But that's what I mean when they take our names, when they take our identities, when they try to deface our monuments and statues. You understand? All this and turn around. When you go to your school, when you go to your classroom, the elementary, and they're telling you all of their history, they're going a long way back. But when it comes to you, the only thing you get to know is that you were enslaved and you were brought over in boats and you came over here and was made to work. You don't even get to be told about your ancestors that were already here. You understand? They were already rocking trade and merchandise and whatnot here. You understand? You don't get told about that. So that affects your mind when you get to sit next to Jeremy, and Jeremy says, well, my ancestors was George Washington and Alexander, all the way to Alexander the Great and blah, 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 blah. Well, how about you? And you're looking at him like, well, Kunta Kinte?
And Brother Abdulwadud, if I may piggyback off of what you're saying, and a good book that I want to remind the audience to read is called Iceman Inheritance by Michael Bradley.
I read that
And
book.
he is a white man. And he is a white man. And he told the truth. He knows where they came from. And Brother Major, what Brother Abdulwadud is saying is a part of psychological warfare through the school system by lying and saying that our collective identity started off at our lowest point in history, enslavement, and in bondage, and losers. Is basically saying your collective identity starts off as a loser. Well, because they don't teach about how our ancestors down here in the South during these Gullah Wars took them to the mat from 1733 clean on up to 1858. Okay, they fought them. They drugged them through those swamps. They gave Andrew Jackson a hard time, baby, but they don't teach that. But you teach our children that their identity, their collective being, their collective identity started at slavery. That has an effect on our whole entire population, our collective self-esteem. We wake up, it's been embedded in us that we're losers. It's embedded through the school system. So it's a form of psychological warfare, and we just can't continue to ignore that. That's how it's not by force all the time. They use psychological warfare on us, and I'll give the floor back to you.
I agree. I just want him to condense it. You know what I'm saying? We got too many things to talk about.
Yes, indeed.
Going in history. That's why I want to acknowledge everybody go check out this book here. Because because history, like Andy T. Browder, Now Valid Contribution to Civilization by Andy T. Browder is a great book. It's a nice side. It's a great book. It talks about everything we talk about. I just don't want to go too much in detail and get away from everything we talk about. But yeah, keep it condensed and focus on.
Yes, indeed.
I think he did a great job. I just don't want to get too lengthy. We got to touch on the summit and everything too. Just like BLACK Smmit and whatnot. I don't want
Brother Major, real quick, this is just to point out the Pain to Agony. You understand? Even to this day, right? even to this very day, what they'll try to do is they've actually tried to convince people that we were just a small little quote unquote Negroid population that lives somewhere southwest of Africa, and they're not even sure how we got there. They just literally we were just savages swinging around from branches in the Congo somewhere. That's what they're trying
and
to do.
We should be grateful for their Bible. Oh, and civilizing us. We should be so grateful for their Bible and civilizing us. Oh, it's the Mr. European man.
Special thanks to Heather Denise Harrod Son of One. Thank you for super chat donation. Peace, Magic, S in chat. Thank you, Bro Star, for your support. Thank you so much, sweetheart, for your donation and what have you. Look, I can't speak for everybody, right? But when I grew up, you should know this though. They had a white man called Tarzan right in the jungle. They want you to believe that a white man went in African jungles and civilized wild beasts and black people. For a long time, Hollywood, the government, whites in general, have always depicted the white man leading. When you look at every religion, I'm actually skimming out every religion. When you look at Christian-based religions and Catholic and all that, Jehovah's Witness and whatever, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna see they always have the white man. My parents always have the white man leading, and everybody behind him, like they came civilize the world, right? So for me, what we talking about, you know what I'm saying? The psychological warfare, like you said, it's not always physical.
Yeah.
To the world, this government, Britain, them had to make, even Russia, they had to make, Germany had to make the world like, we about humanity, we about righteousness, we about God, blah, blah, blah. But on their land, they discriminate and hurt black people in every kind of way, really commit massive genocide, right? That's on the continent. Yes. But going back to what you're saying about the psychological war, I want to stay here, right? Because it's interesting. I just don't want to just, it's like, look, let's get straight. And I was just saying, thanks to Dr. Chia Eddie Diop, thanks to John Henry Clark, thanks to Dr. Ben, thanks to John G. Jackson, all these people, because of what y'all talking about, they're not recognized. We talk about Malcolm, we talk about Marshall, we talk about all these people here, but these people, the one who against these white folks, who have been propagating a lie. For a long time, white people were saying that Egypt wasn't in Africa, it wasn't black people. And Chia Diop, they challenged the scientists and all that, right? And they actually pulled the mummies up and showed the mummies had melanin in them, right? Whites don't have melanin, only blacks have melanin. They killed the men, but then they landed what? What's on the rug? Until Dr. John Henry Clark came out after years of fighting with plebiscites, fighting with the plebiscite books and what have you, right? So it's been it's been out there, right? I mean, the people, the information, whatever, it's just been hard getting to the people. And once it was published, come on in.
And let me add something else that was hidden, because all of those historians that you named kept the eye on Africa to make you not realize your land rights here. See, your identity is tied to your rights. Okay, we were born here, so we have a jurisdictional right to land rights here. Now, Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Clyde Winters. Okay, there was another German historian that found African sculptures here that date back thousands of years. They didn't even mention that because they wanted to keep your eye on the ball everywhere else, but right here where you have land rights. Okay, that's why they played those tricks with our identity. They're still playing tricks with our identity.
Yes.
They want you to deprive yourself of your identity, your true identity, as being a foundational Black American here, Afro-descendant. And Afro-descendant is a judicial personality that is not just us here in the United States, but all down in the Americas, from the top all the way to here, all the way to Canada. So we were already here. Indigenous is a status, and it has it's up under customary law. It has to be enforced. But because we've been so programmed to think you are a simple minority and an immigrant, our resources are misappropriated because of the psychological warfare that's being shoved down our throats from the time we enter pre-K to the time we walk out of that high school, from the time you get that PhD. The lie goes on, and if you go against the grain of that lying ideology, you don't get to get in there and get the nice gushy positions in the school district. You don't get the good gushy position in the universities, because either you got to be focused on that lie, direct your research towards your beginning. You're in Africa, and that's where your identity starts. Therefore, you are an immigrant. We're not immigrants. We were already here.
Yes.
And we don't have to go nowhere to flex our political muscle. We're going to flex it right here. Because as African descendants, right here in this hemisphere, we're 200 million strong. That's about 11 or 12 nations. We have to use our population the same way they weaponize their populations. We're going to have to use our population politically as well. That means we can't just settle for simple minorityhood. We're not a simple minority. We're 45 million strong. We built this economy. We still contribute to it. And I hate to say it, but we fund our own demise. We pay the police that kill us. We pay the school teachers that miseducate our children. We help pay for the curriculum and buy the books that tell our children that you came here, that your collective identity started as a slave. That gives them a starting point from what? From the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
And this is what we've been conditioned to think. This is how we've been conditioned. This is psychological warfare.
400 years.
For us to deal with the issues that we got, we have to move past the misinformation, psychological warfare, and this is where Brother Abdulwadud comes in at, because he has that technology side to him, and he's well studied. And by merging the information together and the technology, we're going to be able to move this piece faster than what we've been doing. Right now, we're in a bottleneck.
Yeah.
And that bottleneck is costing us every single day. Every single day that we're in a position as a simple minority, like we swam beside the Mayflower. We didn't swim beside no Mayflower. Our ancestors' sovereignty was interrupted and it was displaced. Let's make
400 years.
Let me
and it's up to us to recapture that sovereignty.
All right. Thank you so much, Elaina. I'm going to let Do come in after I make this comment. And the funny part about it, they got people that believe they're Indian or whatever they believe they are, fighting among people like you and I, and we the same people. Feel me? And then the funny part about it, the colorization and what have you, then a lot of whites infiltrating, saying that these people or that people and what have you, when they're not even really original people, or they lick or they watered down or something like that with colorization.
Let me jump in here, because you just made a very valid point. No, while the juices are flowing, you made a point. There is a separation in our population. You have those who say we're Aboriginal. They want no parts of Africa. Don't call them Africa. Don't call them Africans. They don't even want to be considered as African descendants, because they have the proof. And we do have pure Black Indians here, all down in here in Georgia, all down in Louisiana, especially where you from. Do the research on your history where you came from.
I know, yeah.
Indians, you're pure Black Indians, and you were mixed with those Black Europeans that came here. You had Black French that came here. You had the Black Jews that came out of Portugal, that European part of us. Then you also had the part with the pure Africans that came here across with the African slave trade.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is, according to the law, I am who I say I am. It's called self-determination. You have a right to self-identify. If those people don't want to consider themselves Africans and want to consider themselves Aboriginals, they clearly have that right. That's their
Yep.
human right, because that European didn't have a right to name us anyway. So why
Yep.
should we
There we-
subscribe to the box they put us in?
Mm-mm-mm.
Abdulwadud stepped on the channel on
And
that one.
those people,
There's a forest
they know
fire
who they
going on
are.
around here. There's a forest
I'm not
fire.
mad with them.
I tell you. See, here's the thing. 400 years. They've had 400 years plus the amount of time they were occupying and invading Africa. Which is about about 1,000 or whatnot years when you do the math. Um, this is enough time that they've had to really dig into our culture, our life, our mind, not truly understanding it, but understanding it enough to use it to manipulate us and to,
Mm-hmm.
control, the narrative over our way of thinking. We're compassionate people. We're people that see the wholeness in creation. So the problem that we have here, we're in a time where we've been taught to believe in the white right, meaning right as in being
That's right.
right, righteous. Okay, so when we're looking at these people, we can't do anything without us feeling that they have to authenticate it for us. We have to go to them for some type of approval to be who we are. So this is the thing we have to be careful of, because they believe that they were righteous when they murdered us in Marseille. They believe that they were righteous when they brought our ancestors over the seas. They believe they were righteous when they brought our ancestors that were here, and or when they took our ancestors that were here, when they took their land, when they murdered them in large scale. They believe they were righteous when they sat at that so-called Thanksgiving table with bells, whistles, crescents, crosses, you name it, and shook hands, and then moments later killed populations, poisoned them, diseased them, sickened them. You
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
These are and all through this, they believed that they were right in their
That's
behavior.
right.
You understand?
That's right.
Now, today, they want to act like, oh, well, this is our scar in history. Well, look, your scar isn't just then; it's ongoing. It's still going. So long as
That's
you
right.
refuse to let us free, you understand? To let us exercise full, unhindered self-determination, you are still wrong. You
That's right.
understand? You are
And guess
still
what? And wait
oppressing
a
us.
minute, brother Eduardo. Let me put
Hmm.
this on the table too. The buck is gonna stop with us with the
Yes.
bullshit. I'm
Yes.
just telling you straight up. We have rights that can be asserted, and we're putting something in place so we can assert those rights. The bottom line is they've weaponized our identity,
Mm.
used psychological warfare by depriving us of our true history. No other group has to go through different changes and call themselves different names but us. Why is that? What are they
Mm.
hiding? They're
Yeah.
hiding who we are, but I can tell you who we are is all up in their militia records. You can go to any university campus and go to their military library, and you'll find out who we are. They
Yeah.
fought several. This was a war zone here in the United States when they came here and colonized it.
Yeah. See,
Okay?
we
Black
haven't.
people are already here, and they are
Yeah.
liars. They're some lying bastards. And we continue
Yes. Yes.
to play along with it because we won't put that political pressure where it needs to lie. Last year, no, in 2019, they had this legislation promoting 1619. Hell, our ancestors were here before they got here in 1492. That has a legal, economic, and a political connotation to it that we haven't even tapped into. We don't even
Mm.
question because we got these puppet leaders,
Right.
political leaders, and we even have puppets in this Black national movement too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anybody that tells you you don't have a right to your land rights, your cultural property, your biological property here, they're your enemy.
Yes.
And with that, I yield the floor.
And that's why we're in a time where we don't have time to play games with coonish ones. We don't have time to sit here and wait around. We've
We ain't
look
waiting.
all the sermons. By the way, yes, Runko Rashidi is another good source. He does his homework super well. Ivan Van Sertima, another one. We're in a time where we can't afford to we've had enough sermons. Everybody said every sermon you can name. There's a probably a Rolodex of every sermon, every lecture, every thing that there's books that cover pretty much everything you can name. You understand, regarding our situation, regarding the solutions, regarding what we need to do, regarding what we should do. So we're at a time where now we've reached where we've said enough. You understand? Enough has been said. Now we need to start doing, you understand, what we need to
That's
be
right.
doing. We're in a time of action rather than inactivity. Like the
Thank you.
old sages used to say, act, sit when it's time to sit, act when it's time to act. Now it's time we need to be acting, and that's what brought us together, is because we want to manifest features that bring about said action, that bring about said unity, where we need to stop. If you're serious about this, then we need to unify. If you're not, please step aside. You understand? If you believe that
Thank you.
somehow your white master still has got you in his favor, that somehow the devils still feel some way that you can get their approval and you'll win. Look,
We need you out of our movement.
yeah, there's no, you can't think to grow something good from an evil plant, a corrupt plant.
Thank you.
If it's poisonous, it's poisonous. It's poisonous all the way through. It's never going to be nutritious. You understand? It's never going to be healthy to you. It's always going to be poison. So you uproot that plant and you put in good seed. That's the only solution. There's no alternative. There's no, well, maybe if we just wait a little bit longer, they'll be nice. Maybe they'll come around. Maybe they'll come to, see, look, he's shaking hands. They're friends with us now. No. No, a devil is a devil is a devil, like Ali said. Look, you open that door, you don't have time to figure out which one is the snake, the poisonous snake, from the harmless snake. They're all snakes.
And with that being said, we just have to realize that the white man rewrote everything. Everything got his hand on was rewrote. He snatched, he snatched all the scrolls, papyrus and all that, all the writings we had. He destroyed, modified things. Things we know, or we heard what it was, is no longer. It's something else. Some of your great paintings and sculptures and statues and efforts in Britain museums. When we look at what they did at the state capitol and all the White House and those symbols and all that, it comes out of Africa, architects and what have you. It took that. We originators of everything: science, math, religion, building, architects, medicine, the alphabet, numbers, so forth, so on. We just been miseducated,
Yeah.
And the problem is, and what Miss Elaina is trying to share with us, is that because
Brother,
Your
we're
your
having a
your
hard time
sound
hearing.
is your sound is breaking up.
It's slowing down too.
Hmm. Yeah, they're tapping in on our conversation. They're like, we
Yeah,
we
they
gotta go
tapping
ahead.
in. It's them folks. That's all right, but you gonna pay us our money one way or the other, ass or cash, because we
we got
coming to get that check.
we got to intervene in this one right here. There's too much
Oh
fire going
yeah,
on.
they mad. They mad. But let them stay mad, brother Abdulwadud, because you know what? The jig is up. They have put puppets in front of us for the
Yeah.
past 15 years. They've used psychological warfare. They've done all that they could do.
Hmm.
Now is the time for us to move as a people.
Yeah.
We need
We don't.
to know who's who. We need to give people good information so they can use that information to make the decisions that they need to make for them and their family.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
And that's at the end of the day what this is about. We're entitled to trillions of dollars in reparations and funds. We're entitled to our land rights. We don't have to stay in this position of forced assimilation because there was no plebiscite vote for that integrationist policy that they have on the table and the way that they have us penciled in their constitution.
Right. Right.
Their constitution. When these black political puppets come in our faces, we need to find out what is their position on self-determination. What is their position on putting legislation on the table for immediate reparations? Not a damn study.
Bottom
These
line.
people owe us money, and they're taking money not because of the cotton they made our ancestors pick in those goddamn cotton fields. They owe us money for what they're doing right now, practicing apartheid right now.
Right.
No.
For the way they have us penciled in their constitution as a damn immigrant when we're not an immigrant. We're indigenous to this damn land. Pay us our shit.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I love them emotions. Love the emotions. They're just positive vibrations, y'all. And just say it in the way, hey, she means what she says.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
They owe us. We don't have to stay anytime. Let's talk about what happened here in Georgia. A black man was hunted down like a dog where there was 60% black folks. When you look at the institutions in that area, you had maybe 1 or 2 blacks in high places, maybe 1 or 2 blacks on that police force. They want to continue to eat, so guess what they do? They go along with the policies and legislation and the ordinances on the table. So what do you do in a situation like that? You have to carve out a political space for yourself, not dance to the tune of integration. Other nationalities, other colonized people don't take stuff laying down the way we do. We do because we've been conditioned to normalize apartheid. We've been conditioned to normalize colonialism and belligerent occupancy and crimes against humanity, because you see snuff films of black people, black bodies drop almost every other day where a police officer doesn't shot them. And it's normalized because, maybe he didn't give the police enough respect. That's not what that is. That's not police brutality. That's an act of attrition. That's soft warfare against the population. We got to call a spade a spade.
Yes, indeed.
And quit playing games with our children, because that's what we're doing, playing games.
Now, this is not new. This is not new. Malcolm X did talk about this, about human rights violations, getting away from civil rights and all that, and really want to talk about human rights. He was very direct about everything, going to UN and what have you. Now, I know Ms. Elaina shared that there's other groups that already established their independence, but for us as Afro descendants, for people that don't know what's going on, like the majority, because some of these, I'm learning this under religious organizations and whatnot, right? But now she's talking about for the population of black people over here that's actually still subjugated, actually still enslaved, actually don't realize they're just on parole, they're just not locked up.
Yeah.
And once they violate their parole, they lock them up. Because you gotta realize you were locked up and slave was in prison. Slave was prison. They let y'all on parole, so they freed you. But you actually on parole, right? And when you violate your parole, they lock you back up. And what violating the parole is, stay in your place. When we kill y'all, don't say nothing. When we chastise y'all, don't say nothing. And that's those who either are innocent or those who speaking up. All of us innocent. But those who speaking up, definitely gonna go after them. And just being black, we gotta exterminate, we gotta minimize, we gotta control. Just knowing that, right? And you pushing what you're pushing, and for African that first been a one nation, what it mean for black people to support what you're doing and to see the daylight and for how important it is for us to be able to claim our land right, our property right, and demand reparation. Can you answer that?
Yes. Brother Major, what has to be done is an educational piece. It's an educational piece to this, and this is why I'm adamant about educating. That's why I don't go on anybody's platform. If I can't talk about human rights and the law, I don't want to deal with you anyway, because you're suspect. And I'm just being frank with you. And that's why I'm glad when we go to, we're going to put some things in place, because a march ain't a march if you ain't marching for nothing, if you don't have no clear political objective. Now, I'm not saying we're trying to take over the United States. What I'm saying is we're coming from a place of equality. Okay? Equality means I got what you got. Mutual respect. We are 45 million strong. There are countries with less populations than ours. Okay? Our population is 45 million. But yet we operate like an immigrant. Like we came here beside the Mayflower. That's why we don't control anything in our communities. We don't control our economic base. Our economic base that we had after slavery was snuffed out, absorbed, and misappropriated so they could rebuild the South. But see, when we talk about these things, we talk about it, oh, we ain't buying black enough. Oh, we spend excess money. No, you don't control your money. This is about control.
Yes.
We need a government that answers to us and us first. The United States government don't give a damn. They care less. I can bet you for the next 25 years are these same damn genocidal policies. Nowhere, no self-determination is there. No room for growing, no room to develop. As a matter of fact, we've been de-developed since 1865. When they went in, when that special field order, that General Sherman gave our ancestors that land, they told them, we want our own. We want our own place. I think it's best we go and have our own. That meant they wanted their own government. They wanted autonomy. They wanted to be away from these people. They didn't fight for no damn integration. So why are these puppet Negroes running around here shoving that shit down our throat? That's them. So what this means is, it don't mean we don't want to do business with white people. It don't mean we hate white people. That don't mean we going around fist pumping saying we're some black damn Hitlers. That's not what we're saying. Right. We're saying we want to control our shit that you taking, and you gonna give us our shit back.
Period.
Now I can write it up and put it in some nice terms, but the bottom line is we're in a hostile state. You can vote Democrat, you can vote Republican, and at the end of the damn day, there's two wings on the same damn bird that's gonna fly away with our shit and been taking our money, our tax dollars, our land. Everywhere you look around down here in the South, people are being pushed out of their property to make roads and through eminent domain, selective annexing, and underbounding. Not only here in the South, let's take a look at Detroit where the dirty bastards shut that goddamn water down up there. Then they jacked up the taxes to get them black folks out of there. The governor went as far as to say, on record, he wanted to get rid of black people and put in some nice, smart immigrants. This is on record. That's a violation of our human rights. We got these motherfuckers where we want them. We need to take them to court.
Yes. See, brother Major, here's the thing. This whole Just Be Black gathering, you understand, is the, if you will, the vaccine, the serum, the much needed serum for the virus that plagues us right now. You understand? And why is it important? Because this is about, like I said, it's not about further lectures and further talks. It's about implementing certain key elements into our minds, into our society, into our way of life that give us a certain perception of where we want to go. In other words, we have to not just talk about what we want. We have to start manifesting the characteristics of self-determination. We have to start manifesting the characteristics of what it means to be a nation, you understand, as a people. We have to start putting identities on each other, you understand, putting terms on each other that make it so that our language, when we speak to each other, is the language of we're no longer this. We're no longer integrated with you. We are now these people, and this is our representation, and this is our identity, and these are our formulas that make that plain to you. So this whole thing is about putting it in stone, putting agreements together, putting the whole concept to where we authenticate ourselves. You understand? We've approved of ourselves to be these things that we're striving to be. In other words, our self-determination is not pending any external approval. Our self-determination is pending our approval as a people, and then we insist upon it in the face
Thank
of
you.
all else. You understand? We say this is what
See,
we have a right to have this. We're not asking your permission. You understand? We're just letting you know that, hey, guess what? We're these people. We're this nation. You understand? We are a nation. Just wanted to give you the memo. That's all we're doing.
Abdulwadud, do you have a layout of the program as far as the topics and whatnot? If you want to share right now, I know it's August 21st, is under 3 weeks. If you have a layout as far as the things we're going to be talking about, because by the way, Major will be out there, Major T, I will be out there myself. I will come support the movement. I have a nice rapport with both the these guests, these beautiful black people. So I will be out there and what have you. But can you tell people if you have
Yes,
a program?
I will try to scratch over some things. Some things, because of the nature of what this is. I believe adamantly that there can be no unity without there being an intellectual unity. You understand? The body is there, but the body, just like when a baby is born, when a baby is in the womb, it's the first thing you notice taking place is a beating heart. Then the brain starts to develop. It's when that brain develops that you say this is now an individual. You understand? This is a person because it's able to be responsive. You understand? So here, the body is there, but what brings the body to operate together, just like I was giving an example some time ago with Voltron, all the parts came together, and the last part to assemble was the head. Now, mind you, that all the parts were coming together at the beckoning of the head. The head was saying, "Form, the arms, form the feet, form the body, and I'll form the head." Right? It's commanding all the while. Our hearts, our whole inner being has been commanding us to unify. Okay, but the question has always been, well, how? How do you get people to be on a common code? How do you get people to be in sync with one another so that we operate as a whole and not separate little entities? Everybody shouting black unity, but being their own party. Okay, what brings that together is the same thing that brings a puzzle piece together. Not by emotions, not by any of these things, but by intellect. When you get a box of puzzles, you have to think. You understand? When you're playing chess, like the brother GMJ said, you have to think. You have to strategize your next moves. What moves are essential? You understand? So that you reduce as much as possible casualties. Okay. So in this case, that requires said unity requires a black think tank. We're not going to get anywhere if nobody is able to communicate with one another intellectually. So we have to
thank you.
have the environment established where we can sit at the table seeing each other as equals. You understand? Nobody better than the other, and agreeing upon precepts, agreeing upon codes, agreeing upon what it is that will be necessary to move us forward. You understand? Agreeing upon policies, you name it. So we want to deal with that. We also want to deal with not excluding any elements of society that is about black unity, about black autonomy, about black self-determination, including the brothers and sisters in the streets. You understand? One person put it to me like this. She says, "I don't call them gangs. I call them tribal leaders." And I thought about that. I thought about the features of what we've been led to understand as gangs, and I said, no, they're not. She's telling the truth. If we went into our ancestral history, that's the very same behavior that many outer tribes would do. You understand? Those that aren't really tied to the established community. You have these external tribes. Okay, same thing here. So we need to acknowledge all of our elements of society that are about that business of unity, and invite them to have a seat at the table. Invite the representatives, invite all those that are concerned to have a seat at the table. As many right now, what you would have here would be a seed. You understand? That sets it off. The seed that sets it off and creates a pattern for others to implement and apply when it comes to, like you mentioned, this is on a macro scale, a national scale that we're looking at. Okay, but like you mentioned, and it's very
That's a conversation. That's not something I said online. He and I was talking when I said that though.
okay. Well, the thing the thing here is that the pattern would be reflected throughout the communities where we populate, the black communities. The pattern would be connected. We need to be interconnected. We need to have the proper networks established so that when we communicate, we know how we need to communicate. We know what needs to be said, how it should be said. You understand? We know that when certain things are said, that we operate as one body. So that when situations like what's happened so far with our brothers that have been incarcerated wrongfully, you understand? That we know how to respond on code. So that nobody jumps out of the woodwork, jumps out of the bushes with emotions and does something that could be detrimental to one of ours that have been captured. You understand? And that possibly we can work our way with intelligence, proper steps to freeing these type of brothers and sisters that are in these situations. So to clear this out, the Just Be Black Gathering, that's the name of this event. Okay, the Just Be Black Gathering, it's is inviting something that is not common amongst us as a people. A lot of us like other people to do the work for us. You understand? We don't always want to do the homework. We don't always want to get to the nitty gritty of the known intelligence of society. You understand? Getting the proper information, getting the proper communication out to the people. Not everybody's willing to do that kind of homework. They'd rather pop on like we're doing right now, Major TV, and see what the update is. You understand? See what's being said. We don't want to do the legwork. Okay, the Just Be Black Gathering is an attempt to invite together those who are about doing that legwork, who are about manifesting in real time what we're striving for. So, like I said, no longer just talking about it, but implementing the very things like the sisters talking about, putting it to acceptance amongst ourselves, to where we as a people say, this is us now. This is us. We are declaring this to be us. We are declaring that these elements are us and for us, and this is now a reality. It's not a fiction. It's not some hoax or hopeful wishful thinking or something like that. But this is us now. You understand?
Thank you. First, I want to let you know, this is Major for Major TV. We're talking about the Just Be Black Summit. That is August the 21st. Please like and share this video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm dropping content a lot. I want to say something, how I met this brother. And Elaina too, but this brother here. I had did a video about black think tanks, right? And I broke it down from the macro to micro, all the big, right? I feel like in every city and every town, they should have small think tanks where they discuss what's going on in the community so that they can find ways how to heal, how to create, how to build, how to fight back, right? And this brother had he got my comment and said, "Hey man, I was saying the same thing in my video about a month ago." And I was like, "Who is this?" He said, "Man, I've been trying to get at you." I said, "Man, I never seen none of my comments." And he was like, "Oh no, I thought I did. I didn't send to you something." So I sent him my number. We've been talking ever since, right? So when he talked about this think tank thing, man, it was in unison. We was in like mind about it. So, and I you go back to my video about black think tank, I break it all the way down, like from small to macro, how it should be set up and everything, right? But I commend this brother for just staying true to pushing the black think tank. And then Miss Elaina, she just started rocking with me. I ain't gonna lie, you on fire, baby. You got that gangster in you for real. You got that gangster in you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm gangster. Hell, we dealing with a criminal outfit. We dealing with some damn gangsters in that White House. So you better bring your gangsters to the table.
The real thugs.
The real damn thugs.
But Miss Elaina, I meant as well, just me doing what I do. Like I don't chase the YouTube algorithm. I ain't gonna keep on talking about Kwame Brown. I keep on talking about Grandma said ozone. I'm gonna talk about him when time to talk about him. I'm gonna acknowledge hashtag salary GMJ. I may mention him sometime talking, for example, but there's so much going on. So we have to support these brothers.
Yeah.
We gotta support these brothers that's dealing with the legal system, that's trying to take our people down for standing up, right? But my thing is, I want to talk about everything pertaining to uplifting our people, overcoming the crisis we're dealing with, and definitely get some healing. And having them tools, how we met, right? But I have a question for you that's very important, man. Moving forward, with all you know, with that great mind of yours, with all you know, considering our situation, knowing about psychological warfare, knowing about the mental security, knowing that all that be that controls everything, the 9 factors that nearly fully Junior was talking about, right? How moving forward should we teach our kids? Because our kids are actually are worse a victim than us, right? Because at least we can come into the knowledge with them. It'll take a minute for them to just catch on. What habit form we should have in our home to deal with all of this?
First thing
out there.
Well, the first thing that we have to do, we're doing it right now, is we're putting that information that there's an alternative to our circumstance.
Yeah.
Our youth, I worked with youth from 2012 to 2007 until 2019 for 12 years. And I've seen some horror stories. Our youth are in a bad shape because of the poor political moves that we make. One of the best things that we can install in them is their true identity, who they are. Tell them every day that they're powerful, they're beautiful, and that they came from a beautiful, powerful people. We have to embrace our identity of who we are and teach our children who we are. Number 2, I know our parents, I know my parents, I was raised in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. And at that time, we were sheltered. Generation X, we're some sheltered Negroes. So we are responsible for the mess that we got with our youth, because we didn't see the atrocities of the 60s. The only time we saw something was with Rodney King. And that's when it woke us up. That's when the reality check came in, but we went back to sleep.
Yep.
So what we have to do now is focus on fixing the mess that we're in right now and informing our youth of the reality that we're in right now. Not this watered down version of reality that they get in this public school system and that they get on social media. That's what we have to do. We have to face reality, teach our children their true identity, that we had people who made big strides, MOTEP in science. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, there's a lecture right now on YouTube with great blacks about blacks in science. Our children need to know that.
Yes.
That's number 1. Number 2, we got to clean up our households. We have, guess what? The black man and black woman were against each other. Our political leaders hold them up on this high horse, and then when they don't meet the criteria, this high criteria, we tear them down. But we're the one put them up there, but we're the one tear them down too. We got to stop that. We're killing each other. We have incest that derives from slavery that nobody talks about, that's going on in our family. We have internal housekeeping that we need to do. We need informed political leadership, whether they're the Negroes that's in front of us, that's running out here on our behalf in the White House. They need to know that we have human rights. And the ones that we have in this movement. You're not benefiting me, and you don't know that I got a right to land. But you're telling me I got to go away to Africa to enjoy it. That's bullshit. I don't know nobody in Africa. And you're my enemy when you tell me to take my eye off my resource that I helped build, that I'm still paying taxes for here, that I got to go and enjoy my fruit in a whole nother continent. That's bullshit. You cannot be my friend. Now we can help build Africa and we can come together as a people. But for us to be told by our leadership your freedom is gonna come based on what goes on over there, that's not gonna happen. Because the same way we're colonized here, they're colonized there. So what we're gonna have to do is come in the house and have a Sunday go to meeting. Who's who? Who's on board? Who really wants self-determination?
Yes.
And not just eat off a master's plate. We have not came to that realistic decision yet. We have political internal issues that we got to deal with first before we even get to the nation building process. Also, we got to make a decision. Do we want democracy or do we just want one leader? How are we going to govern ourselves? Are we going to practice pluralism? Are we going to have direct democracy or representative democracy? These are conversations we got to have. But most of the Negroes, even ones in Congress, don't even know these concepts. But they represent you. You co-sign on these bastards. We go vote for them. But the next time someone tells you to come vote for them, ask them about putting some legislation on the damn table to give us our reparations within a year. And see what they run like a coach running from rain.
I wanted to respond.
You have a last comment. I'm gonna give you a last comment, brother.
Go ahead.
We got to close. You have last. We got to close. I'm gonna be on you all day.
All right.
Okay. We have to have some political decisions that's made internally, and everything that we discuss cannot be discussed in public.
Right.
And it won't be discussed in public. We have to put some safety nets in place. You see all this snitch jacketing and this one calling this an agent because we have no clear political objective.
Right.
We just got people that's out here, and we can't do that. We cannot do that. We have to come to the drawing board as a people, not just keep talking about it. We have to physically do it. And with that, I yield the floor.
I want to thank you all for coming on the show again. Just BLACK Smmit. I'm Major with Major TV. Y'all like and share this video. If you're new to my channel, subscribe, with notification on bell. And I want to give the final words of Yellow Flow to Brother Abdullah, do his last words if you want to comment on what he said on BLACK Smmit. And I just want to thank y'all.
Yes, indeed. Peace and blessings, family. So, bottom line is we have our work cut out for us. Our time of simply wishful thinking and dreaming, has come to an end. We now need to wake up from that dream and get up. Since we say we woke out of the bed, you understand? Go downstairs, fix ourselves up some breakfast, and get out and get to work. That's the time frame we are at now. So we need to agree that this is what's essential for us. Those of us that are coming to Cleveland, Ohio, come to Cleveland, Ohio, prepared to implement, prepared to manifest what it is that we have come for. We need to prepare to, get our wallets involved as well as our mind. In other words, we need to be more than just about, pinning on someone else to do our job for us. We have to support our own endeavors and come amongst ourselves to support our own endeavors. We need to stop, hiding every time it comes to standing up to be responsible. We have to be responsible for ourselves. So stop being afraid to put your money where your mouth is if this black unity is what you're about. You understand? Because otherwise we're being hypocritical. We're saying we're about black unity, but we don't want to invest in black unity. So we're coming at this gathering with the mindset that we've got work to do. We've got blueprints to make. We've got things to apply, and we want to definitely make sure that when we leave that event, that something new, something for us has happened, and we didn't just come to talk. You understand? We want some clear results that are able to be recognized by those who come, and then also those at large. Yeah, we want to clean house. We want to get rid of rats. We want to get rid of coons. We want to get rid of all those elements so that way, anytime it comes to speaking up for the black nation, it's funneled through an authentic source. The Black Think Tank is funneled through us as a people who, like I was giving you an example before, if you want to know the latest updates in the black community, tune in to Major TV. You understand? I'm saying that because you know that the brother is authentic. Tune into authentic sources. And how will you know those authentic sources? You understand? When we form together and we're able to filter out all the mess, you understand? What remains is gold. What remains is gold. What remains is all that is real, all the legit components to black unity, so we can move on and stay focused. We don't have time to be worried about other people's claims, other people's aimless talk. You understand? Their aimless talk of integration and things. We don't have time for any of this other stuff. We have no time to pedal around and waste time with the foolery. We have to simply be like this and stay focused. You understand, on what we're coming to do. So for the time being, the 21st is still some days away. Those that want to participate in some way, if you're not able to physically arrive in Cleveland, Ohio on the 21st, then keep on being responsible by donating. You understand? Help support the cause any way you can. Donate, provide resources, provide things that help to keep us where we need to be and focused. So you have myself. I believe well, my contact is souljourneyoflife.social@gmail.com. The cash app to support the Just Be Black gathering. You got the GoFundMe. Just Be Black gathering is the GoFundMe if you want to support that way, or Cash App $the Light Dome if you want to support that way. All those will help support the cause. The thing is, like I said, you have to convince yourself of the need to be responsible. Stop looking for other people's approval to do what we need to do. Let's see here. So we need to stop looking for other people's. Yes.
If I may, Brother Abdulwadud, one thing you keep stressing on is that intellectual part. We need to put out the call that anyone who really believes and really want true liberation for our people, that holds the advanced degrees, that means from a bachelor's to a master's, PhD, we need you at this time to articulate the legal parameters of our human rights. We need you like yesterday. So also, please support this endeavor. If you can make it to Cleveland, we need you there. We need the intellectual manpower at this point.
All intellectual hands on deck. Think of it this way. You saw, the brothers and sisters with the boots on the ground out there arming themselves. You understand? Doing what they need to do to represent their rights. You understand? Here is an intellectual armament. You understand? Here is an intellectual armament. So pen and paper. So call it all hands on deck. Call it all scholars, all thinkers, all contemplators, those who believe they got a plan. You understand? Come to Cleveland, Ohio, August 21st. You understand? Come to Cleveland, Ohio, August 21st. All hands on deck.
And Mr. Elaina, you have any last words also?
Yes. Also, I do teach courses at the Pendo Center for Human Rights and Self-Determination. I have open enrollment all the time. So anyone that's interested in taking courses so they can be very valuable in their communities and in their families, and for us as a people, you can reach me at pendoforfreedom@gmail.com. Also, you can also reach me at Porter Elaina 47 at protonmail.com. We need to build capacity to make this thing move. We need to put boots on the ground, but except for we won't be using our Second Amendment rights right now. We're going to be using pen and paper. So we need you there in Cleveland, Ohio, if you're serious.
Yes, indeed.
Is pendoforfreedom@gmail.com? Email.
Yes.
I'm about to submit that in. You want to put your email in there so during their life you good. I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I just put it on the feed.
All right. That's on Elaina email right there. And she also have organizations on Pindo for Freedom.org. You can check that out as well. We put that in the
You could use the Sojourney of Life dot social.
all right.
Let's see here.
I really enjoyed the discussion. I believe it was very rewarding. It was very informative. You have people just going crazy in the chat with all the comments.
Hmm.
Actually agreeing with you. They definitely want to be a part of it. We have people from the UK, we have people from Jamaica, we have different people from different walks of life that's right now in our chat, and they really are on fire about what you're talking about. I'm so glad y'all
Brother
really
Major,
can.
can I please address our family in the diaspora in the UK and
Yes,
around the world?
ma'am.
Family, I want you to know wherever we are as African descendants, our ancestors' sovereignty, and I damn said it, sovereignty was displaced. They never gave it up. And we don't have that right to give it up either. We're in the conditions, no matter where we are, whether we're on the continent or wherever we are in the diaspora, our sovereignty was displaced. Our right to self-determination was displaced. We have that right. It's time for us to start organizing politically and create political organs that will allow us to transmit wealth, resources, and all of our material wealth and rights amongst ourselves. We need to get together and form a supranational entity, at least 3 on different continents, so we can start transferring wealth, security, finance, and trade amongst ourselves. And that is our right. And with that, I yield the floor.
Well, I want to thank you all. We came to that time where we did an hour and a half of positive vibrations, very informative, health information moving forward, because I can really say personally, knowing you all, talking to you all personally on the phone, with having a meeting, I do personally. Y'all are very sincere in your walk, and the fact that I can really testify the fact this is something really real to get behind. This is real, y'all.
Yes.
People have already done this, and she has proven that. This is already documented legally. Geneva Conventions and all that, And we have to really realize what we talk about. We're not just talking about give us our rights and all this and trees, but we're talking about prove human violations.
Yeah.
We can prove, I mean, how in every sense white people have violated us. And I just don't want to say whites. Let me just say Arabs, Asians, what have you. You know what I'm saying? China and whatnot. But because we in America and we dealing with Europeans and what have you, and how these different Europeans play a major part. But we here now. What Mr. Lane talking about, what Abdulwadud talking about is important because, like Jim J said, we can't sue ourselves. We still citizens. You know what I'm saying? You can't sue yourself if you're in the country, you call yourself a citizen. Like you said, last remember, we free, we're not enslaved no more. So if that's the case, we have to become a separate nation that lives within this nation. We don't have to go to Africa. It's here. We was here first. That's what she's trying to tell you. We was here first. The people that trying to get you feel like, oh, these are Indians. These are not, this is not you. This is another people. No, that was black people. And y'all came in and took their land. And like she said, you got different type of black people. You got the black European, you got the black African, you got the black people in their land, right? But he wants to believe that all of us is separate and things just happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like people just grew here, people grew here, grew here. No, it started confident and they migrated. And some got lost. It became barbaric because they didn't know how to get back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you look at Chet and the Diop, how he break down the brain, He was showing the time how small the skull was. He break it down, right? And he was showing in the beginning some humans, their brain wasn't fully developed Like somebody breaking down scars. You gotta go check it on YouTube. That's Chia Anti Diop. Check out he talk about the breakdown of the brain and the mind and whatever. And he talks about how people. He talking about like he disputes agents saying when it was born, right? He was saying that it was virtually impossible. He said there was like 2 or 3 major glacier periods where no human habitat can even live in that kind of environment, right? Yeah. I mean, this brother got an excuse me, Dr. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm rushing you. I'm excited. He is the reason why all these black scientists that came out there, Dr. Henry, Johnny Krug, Dr. Ben, all of them, Dr. Ivan, and George Jackson, they learned from him. Yeah. He actually went at the Europeans and proved. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? We don't talk about it. We don't know about them like that. We just don't hear about them. But what I know is what Elaina proved to me, Abdulwadud and other people, even Jim J. You know what I'm saying? This is real. It's right in our hands. We just gotta take it. And I just want to just thank y'all so much because y'all shared so much. Miss Elaina been on the walk for a minute, like on a minute. Becky on me, she was on me a lot. But I love the fact
I had to work on Major. I had to really work on you, Major. I'm glad you're coming around, bro.
Well, but I do believe we gotta get what's ours over here while we here. I'm in the mindset to do both. Me personally, yeah. I'm doing both.
We can do it. That's our right. Yeah. We can organize any way we want to. It's called self-determination. Yeah. It's our right, not just our right here in the United States, but wherever we are in the diaspora, even on the continent. They're still colonized on the continent. They don't control what's under their feet because the colonizers, they've been colonized by the French, they've been colonized by the United States, and right now they're being colonized by China. So if we are going to save the motherland, we have to reorganize ourselves here in the diaspora, where we can control our resources.
We have to change our thinking.
Go over there. Then we can go over there and do what's needed to be done. We have a right to create supranational entities and special jurisdictions where we can set up security blocks, transfer wealth, power, and resources. Now, they say we got human rights. Let's set up a supranational entity over in England, one over in Africa, and one right here in the Americas, so we can transfer wealth and we can transfer some security apparatuses. Let's see what African governments will bag us.
Yes.
And I'm gonna let you know, this can be done. This will be done.
Yes.
We will separate those who truly for the people and those who commercialize the struggle and those who just full of BS. I'm being real, because my heart is I get emotional in my own way. Yeah. Y'all heard me talk. I do use profane and whatever. I don't do that on screen. You know what I'm saying? I try to project, a positive image. I don't know. I try to be within the confines of just being responsible. I'm gonna let Miss Elaina do that part. But I'm gonna say this. My heart is in the movement. My heart is in the movement so much that I'm giving myself to the movement because I've been around a half a century. You know what I'm saying? And I'm watching in my lifetime stuff that been happening. And people criticizing for us coming on scene right now, right? And saying, where y'all was at 20, 30 years from now? Y'all been around that long, y'all didn't did nothing. Compared, it's like worse.
Where's the check? Where the hell the check?
Yeah. They criticizing GMJ and people like you and I just pull up on the scene and they've been talking about, we've been around 30 years where y'all was at, whatever. Y'all ain't got nothing done. That's why we on the scene. We need immediate mercy, attention, and action on our situation. It's that bad, y'all. It's bad. The funny part, it's been a war against melanated people globally. Yeah. The problem is they've been so good at psychological warfare as well as still in fear of us knowing what they did in the past, that now, like you said, once they put the chains on you and F you all up in the head and show you all kind of diabolical evil thing they would do to you, your mom, your sister, your brother, they wanted to take a chain or chain was still on your brain. So if you wasn't bold and brave enough to pick up a book, you wasn't bold and brave enough to look around and see what's going on, right? At the same time, give it to the Most High to give you direction in your walk and what you're dealing with, right? You wouldn't be able to deal with like most people too scared to even do what we doing as for doing research understanding. Because why? They didn't want to deal with the positive because in their mind, they only did the last person that spoke up, right? So it's all kind of things they did. And then how they divide us by giving us names and separate us between each other. I'm going to show you a good example of color, right? Light skin, dark skin. And back in the day, dark skin was the worstest thing. And you was black, oh man, you was called everything. You were light skin, you thought you was the man. All of the colorization, right? When they see they were drowning out, see, people don't know that. They're more smart than what you think they're. When they see they were drowning out, meaning that they seen white people, population is depopulating, they wanted to make it show the light skin to get promoted, where they can keep the gender up to the point where they can do what they want to do. Because they know they're growing extinct. They play all these mind games, right? So we don't even understand when Mexico, United States had a big wall, you know, back in the day, they had a treaty. Mexico said, look, whoever stay in the United States, they can stay there. And we good. The Mexicans still is, and the United States said, no, we just want to keep the white people, not keep the black. We'll keep the white Mexicans. We got to understand the mindset of how they was thinking. We like the boss of Canelo Alvarez. You're like, damn, you Mexican. Why they just so behind this dude? Look at this kicking place. He's white. He can do whatever he want to do, whatever fight he want to pick, avoid fighting. But the black fighters, they want the black fighters to take all the hard fights. Want the black fighters to do something they're gonna tell his white fighter to do. Even with the middleweight, I'm a boxing fan too. Triple G in Russia, same way. He can pick who he want to pick. We don't fight none of them. I praise the ground. They praise the ground to work on, but avoid you won't fight none of them black brothers. Black fighters, I mean, the racism in boxing is bad, but I kind of deviate a little. But it gives my point. They play this game.
Can I jump in? The reason why they do that, the reason why they feel like the black fighter is humanity is less than the white one, that's because they always considered us as animals.
Yeah.
They always considered us. We gotta deal with that. This is not just about dealing with racism. Our very humanity is on the line. They've never considered us as human beings.
Right.
That means they never considered us as on their equal footing as a human being. They have treated us as basically as their object and treated us as animals. And it's up to us to say, you know what, the buck stopped here. I got 5 fingers on each hand. I think just like you do. I'm a human being, so I'm exercising my human rights right now. Therefore, the same licks you don't want that white boxer to take, I ain't taking no more licks than that either.
And we gotta remember the Pope. The Pope ordained to spend on do what they do. When they go to have to kill whatever, they're heathens, they're beasts, they need to be civilized. Right. You gotta realize, so it's ancient, old stuff, like ancient, right? It's the mindset. Still, you look at the Asian, you look at the Nazi, neo-Nazis and whatever. You got different little race organizations like they base all that on what the Pope and all that saying. So a lot of stuff they're doing, they feel like they're still living our prophecy. So I mean, I'm trying to close the show, but we vibing, y'all. We vibing. We vibing right now.
See, you gotta. We see that anything that, again, this goes with that white righteous mentality, where our culture, our way of life, our religions, our practices, our norms, all of that was seen as either some kind of heathenism, or somehow we were mushrikin, using other formulas. We were everything other than civilized people in their mind, even though civilization derived from us upon them. They were never civilized prior towards us bringing to them. They didn't even know how to wash themselves with soap and water before we introduced it to them. So it's just the irony of how things have flipped around to where somehow we're the beast of the field. We're less than animals. We're not worthy You know, understand? Now, see, here's the thing. They utilize the fact that we couldn't communicate with them properly in some cases because they were coming at us, catching us off guard with their Portuguese language, with their English language, and many of us weren't able to properly channel our thoughts back to them. Like, wait a minute, you can't do this. We were saying that in our own language. You can't do this, and so here we are over here now. We are well acquainted with them. Again, we know them. We know their schemes. We know how they operate, and we can tell them so. You understand? Now there's no miscommunication. You can clearly hear that. Look, we've had enough, and now, like she said, the buck stops here, and we're speaking that in your language.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, we can go on and on and on. Unfortunately, we gotta go. All of us got lives outside the movement. We gotta do with our personal movement and whatnot. And things we got going on. But I want to thank everybody personally, from my heart, from their heart to yours. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the live chat. I showed a lot of y'all comments. I'm not gonna go through the comments like I typically would do, but I wanted to see y'all comments flash. I was here to read all of them. I know the guest probably can check all of them, but they probably could replay. Y'all like and share this video. People need to hear this. You gotta understand. There are movements all over the black community. Most of them saying the same thing. The problem is, like Ms. Elaina said it, Abdulwadud. We have to fall up under one umbrella, though.
Yeah.
Under one umbrella. You can be this, that, and other. Long as you just Afro ascendant or just be black, we good. But what we trying to do is change the mindset. We got the political, economical, social scope we under, and we saying, well, look, we didn't try it, did we? We didn't actually let them get away with all. We get away with murder. They still don't like right. We try to literally use all kinds of diplomacy going into their courts and talking to them in Congress and politicians, and then throwing our face to people to represent our neighborhoods and state or citizens, what have you. But now, no, you know what I'm saying? We're going to claim who are African descendants, and we're going to seize the land improperly. We're going to take the proper channels to follow the international courts, and we're going to make sure we prove not just human violations. We will also prove that we are a nation. Everything they said was lies, and we're going to prove the lies.
Yeah.
It's already documented. And I'm talking about through historians that we have been through, our diaspora and what have you, and what's going on currently. So I want to thank all of you all again for tuning in. I want to thank both of my distinguished guests, Abdulwadud and Sister Elaina. Thank y'all, but we gotta go.
Shout out to all the boots on the ground, both armed and unarmed. Shout out to all the black soldiers.
I love y'all. Y'all stay focused, stay on code. Just be black.
Just be black, guys.
Just be black.
Check out the intro, outro. I did a new outro, y'all. We on fire. Check it out, yeah.
To the people, the power is the people. They power in your ego. We power in this evil. It's power in this music. Got power and I use it like I'm a superhero. We really need a leader. Power to the people. The power is the people. They power in your ego. We power in this evil. It's power in this music. Got power and I use it like I'm a superhero. We really need a leader. Wish we could see that we hurting ourselves. Hate to see each other excel. Looking like crabs in the barrel. Wanna gossip, wanna judge. What if we all just unified and put all our differences aside to preserve our way of life and be black and keep our pride and be kings under God and speak words that are wise and don't glorify things that took our fucking people lives. We've been oppressed so long, we feeding on our own. Disconnected from our people, stuck in zombie mode. Children of the lost tribes. Let's go back to Israel. They say I'm trivial, but I swear this biblical. We need to come together, not only at funeral. I'm so tired of fucking funeral.